another episode of Kapow. I'm Sonya.
I'm Al, and here we are at King's Comics celebrating one of my favourite holidays, Free Comic Book Day, or FCBD for short.
Oh, I am so glad that you're saying the letters rather than just sounding them out now.
Yeah, well, people were looking at me strangely when I was calling it
We've got a packed show today with Ray popping in to look at the new DC Warner animated feature Son of Batman, and we'll also be taking a gander at some Game of Thrones collectables. Plus, Al and I will be delving into a couple of comic series that we think everyone should read.
Ka-ba-da. I don't see what the big deal is.
Yeah, but when you say it really quickly, it sounds kind of suspect. No, don't do it again. We'll also be chatting to some people who came along to the Free Comic Book Day celebrations here at King's and checking out some of the awesome cosplay.
You know, I resent the fact that you keep cutting away every time I start to say something. I have a right to express my... Here at Kapow, we believe that the best part of Free Comic Book Day... Actually, no, the second best part directly after getting comics for free is that it introduces people to new things.
Yeah, comic book readers can find something new that they haven't picked up before, and newcomers can dive straight into the medium.
Exactly, so we thought that we would each take a look at a title that we would like to introduce people to. Now, for myself, I chose a fairly well-known title, Y the Last Man, created by writer Brian K. Vaughan and artist Pia Guerra.
It is possible you have misunderstood the purpose of this segment.
Okay, no, I know what you're saying, alright? A lot of people have obviously read this series. It came out in 2002, it ran until 2008, and there's been ample opportunity for people to check it out. My point is that not everyone has, and everyone should.
Yeah, look, I will admit I hadn't actually read it until you mentioned that you were looking at it for this segment, and now I've kind of binge-read half the series.
Well, this exactly proves my point. Now, the premise for this series is deceptively simple. One day, every male mammal on Earth dies violently and simultaneously. Every dog, cat, pig, and human with a Y chromosome is suddenly gone. And the implications of this are, of course, huge.
Yeah, bacon would run out really quickly.
Not really what I was focusing on, but you do raise an interesting point that we will return to. First, though, the wrinkle in the tale, because it turns out that not every man died.
Ah, but they may have gotten that from the title. Yorick Brown is an unemployed slacker in his mid-20s who suddenly becomes the last man on Earth, a fate that he shares with Ampersand, the world's least helpful helper monkey, and also the only surviving male of his species.
I love the triple meaning of the title. You've got Y to stand for Yorick's name, you've got Y as in the Y chromosome, and you've got Y as in, well, text speak. You know, why did Yorick survive? Why did every other man die?
Yeah, and there's a lot of possible answers to that question. They range from the scientific explanation that the development of cloning technology has made the Y chromosome obsolete, to the mystical explanation that the amulet of Helene was removed from Jordan, unleashing a terrible curse.
My personal favourite is that the plague was caused by the cinematic release of Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood. Plausible. But whatever the reason, the effect is that Yorick has now become the single most important person on the planet. Because apart from the concern about all the bacon running out, all the people might run out unless they perfect their cloning techniques very quickly.
And so Yorick, his monkey, and a secret agent named 355 head off in search of the truth, getting into no shortage of danger along the way.
I think one of my favourite elements of this series is its examination of gender roles. It's pointed out early on by Yorick that he would have expected, with females now in charge, that they would all be holding hands at the UN. Instead, the world has gone into a violent upheaval, with some women pleased that the men have gone, some trying to seize power, and some reverting back into roles that have become too ingrained for them to change.
And while not everyone is going to agree with the conclusions that this series comes to on gender issues, it examines them in a fresh way, and in the entertaining context of a violent, action-packed, dystopian sci-fi story.
And it has a capuchin monkey as one of the lead characters.
Almost everything is better with a monkey. Or almost, yeah.
Almost. The thing is, Y the Last Man is one of those comic series that, for me, shows what the medium is capable of.
Yeah.
It has an intriguing concept, it has a social critique, it has a great cast of characters, and it's just a damn good story. That is why Y the Last Man is a comic I would like to introduce people to.
Very cool. Hey, I read that New Line Cinema's rights to Y are about to lapse, so unless they film a movie in the next couple of months, they're going to revert back to the series creator.
Which can only be a good thing, because frankly, it's too complex a story to put into a movie.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping now that Vaughan, since Y the Last Man was put out, he's written 3 of the better seasons of Lost, he's written Under the Dome, I'm hoping he's going to take it back and then pitch it as a TV series.
Because that would be awesome.
It would be awesome. Who would you want to play?
Probably Victoria.
The insane cult leader. Makes perfect sense.
You could play Ampersand.
Somebody fetch me a diaper.
Hey Ray.
Hi Sonya, hi guys.
So today we are taking a look at the latest animated feature from DC.
We are SOB,
Excuse me?
with the son of Batman.
I see what you did there.
I don't know what you're talking about, you crazy. Son of Batman is an upcoming direct-to-video animated film part of the DC Universe animated original movies. It's an adaptation of Grant Morrison and Andy Kubert's 2006 Batman and Son storyline. For those unfamiliar with the story, Batman learns that he has a violent, unruly preteen son with Talia al Ghul named Damian Wayne, who has secretly been raised by Ra's al Ghul and the League of Assassins. When Ra's al Ghul apparently dies after a battle with his former right-hand man, Deathstroke, Batman must work to stop his long-lost son from taking revenge and guide him to a righteous path in order for the pair to truly acknowledge each other as family.
Now this film follows on from Justice League War as part of that continuity.
Yeah, by using Jason O'Mara again as Batman.
Yep, and David McCallum as Alfred. Actually, all the voice work in this, especially from the principals, is pretty solid.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah.
Jason does a great Batman.
Yeah.
I thought that Thomas Gibson, though, was a little bit light for Deathstroke.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh, did you like the story though?
On the whole, yes. I was especially interested in Damian's journey to becoming the new Robin, and that was a really great character journey there. And the exploration of the relationship between him and Bats seemed authentic. But that part, that relationship, could have done with even more focus. I thought that the threat was integrated quite well, you know, into the world and against the characters, but it was a little underwhelming. I didn't feel like any of the characters were really in any great danger.
Yeah, right. I thought the threat that Deathstroke posed to both Talia and Dr. Langstrom was compelling and well executed. I agree with you about the relationship between Damian and Batman. I hope that they kind of explore that tension a bit more in the future.
Yeah, me too.
Did you like the action?
Oh, for the most part, yeah. I'm especially liking how comfortable DC are with showing violence and death, and it's not glorified either. I particularly liked the action involving Damian though, overall. Because he has a height disadvantage and his youth, it just made for a greater dynamic in the choreography.
Yeah, but on the flip side, Talia didn't seem to prove to be much of an opponent, and I was miffed that we didn't get to see a particular fight between two major characters until the credits rolled.
Yeah, cool idea to show what happened in that moment post-film, but I thought they could have just culled other information in the film and kept that bit of action in there. That's what I would have preferred.
Yeah.
Animation-wise, it's another impressive effort. DC understand this arena very well. Their animated films of late include a variety of wow moments, which is another pleasure to look forward to.
The background and landscape details maintain a high level of attention too. And the character design is really solid. Did you agree?
Oh yeah, I did. Batman and Damian, as Robin, looked excellent. Killer Croc was a beast, Talia was hot, and Old Man Ra's looked much better than previous animated versions. The film is decent, but is it great? No, it's not. It's a little bit clunky at times and it has some pacing issues. I just thought they were trying to stuff a lot of major characters in what was essentially a coming-of-age story or slash, you know, family reunion story, and it had all the elements to be quite an outstanding animated movie, but it just fell short, I thought. Yeah, so I'm only going to give it a borrow.
Yeah, I think a lot of the comic readers will be happy with this. They'll be quite satisfied. It's tied nicely to the story. Look, I do understand what you're saying about the relationships, but if they focus too much on that, then there's not enough action, and that's really where these films, I think, shine. Yeah. Look, it's not the greatest one that I've seen. In my book, Under the Red Hood is still going to be my favourite, so I'm going to give this one a borrow as well.
Alright, that's SOB.
Why say it again?
Because that's what we reviewed, SOB.
It's not fun or clever.
You know, son of a bat.
So Free Comic Book Day has come and gone for another year. It was a fantastic day.
It was, but now it's time to take down the stockings.
No, you've gotten confused again. It's Christmas.
It's Christmas. But we did come along to King's Comics to have a chat to people and ask them what comics they would like to introduce new readers to. What is a title or a comic series that you would like to introduce people to?
I just finished Runaways, which is a little bit of an older series. I didn't know that it had gone on hiatus until I reached the last book, and I was like, oh, it ends on a cliffhanger. Awesome. When's the next one coming out? Went on hiatus in 2009.
Yeah.
But fantastic series, fantastic characters, beautifully written. Joss Whedon wrote a couple of the books, so it's absolutely worth reading.
Personally, the Dark Phoenix saga. Anything Batman.
Always good.
Yeah, or anything by Gail Simone as well.
Definitely one called Transmetropolitan. It's
awesome.
Basically Hunter S. Thompson style journalism in like the year 3000. It's incredible.
If I were to introduce comic books to someone, I'd probably introduce them to the Spider-Man series.
Yep.
Like,
Is there a particular storyline that you reckon that people should start with, or?
well, me being a Venom fan that I am, probably like the Venom series.
Yep.
Like, it's always a good read, and you see where, like, how Spider-Man's best friend Flash becomes the Venom symbiote character.
Yeah,
so
cool.
yeah, no, it's good. Like, you see like how the suit actually changes him.
I've gotten a lot of people into Fable at the moment.
Nice.
I know it's starting to pick up in popularity now, but yeah, it's so fantastic.
I really got a huge kick out of the original Wanted. You know, the one that got turned into a movie that
Mark
also
Miller.
sucked. Yeah.
Yes, the movie did suck.
But the book is really fun, and I really enjoyed that. But also East of West, which I've just started reading, and I'm really getting a kick out of that.
I can recommend that one as well.
Hopefully it goes well. Yeah.
Hawkeye, the Marvel Now Hawkeye, because he's a really down-to-earth character and it's actually a lot of fun and entertaining. It's actually a pretty good laugh as well.
As a Batman fan, I would have to say the weekly edition they're doing, Batman Eternal. It's very well written, gorgeous artwork, and yeah, it's very good, very good read, and it's weekly.
The Sonic the Hedgehog comics.
Okay.
That's what originally got me into comic collecting.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not a big fan of the games, but the comics, like, they just seem to be a bit more mature. I mean, maybe aimed a bit more at teenagers or even like young adults, because it is great, like great stories, and I mean, it's reaching its like 260th issue.
Yeah.
And it's always easily accessible.
So one of the best things about Free Comic Book Day is, of course, the free comics. So I've had a look through, a bit of a read, and I've chosen my picks from this year's Free Comic Book Day. So starting off, very nice and easy, I've chosen the Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, the film's just around the corner. It's a great introduction to these characters and to this world, so you're not going in quite so blind if you've never come across Guardians of the Galaxy before. There's some great art in here as well, really dynamic panels, really interesting characters, so that would be my first pick. So my second choice is Rise of the Magi, which I think is a really interesting kind of magic fantasy and a little bit dark at the end. A bit of a twist there that I certainly wasn't expecting. There is a really interesting disconnect between the front cover, which is quite stark, to the actual art that is on the inside, which is quite fantasy and a little bit more, kind of reminds me of Skull Kickers a little bit. The story is really engaging, the characters are really interesting, and I'm really keen to see where this one ends up. So my next choice is a little bit different. It's not an issue 0 or issue 1. It's actually the Valiant Handbook. Now, as we said, Free Comic Book Day is a great day for people to get involved in the world of comic books. And Valiant's done a great job with this one, just introducing you to a bunch of characters that's in their comics. I've been really impressed with what Valiant's been putting out. So this is a great book, just a bit of an introduction to that world. It's fantastic to pick up. Now, I was only going to do a top 3, but I couldn't go past this one, so it's a bit of an honorary mention. This is Past the Last Mountain. This is such an awesome little fantasy. It's got trolls, it's got dragons, it's got lots, and the art in this is so amazing. Plus, as a bonus, you get the next part of Gossamer, which we all know from last year I raved about. I love this. This is definitely a good one to pick up, especially if you've got younger readers.
Okay, so we're lucky to be here today with the creators and stars of the new comic Video World. Guys, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about yourselves and about Video World?
I am the ultimate cyberpunk Vid Vicious 2.0.
I'm Nancy X. We are the characters and creators of Video World, a new reality comic book based in the past, the present, and the future. It's a new reality, hyper-reality comic book.
And this started, you guys started with a band, and then it moved on into this. Can you tell us a little bit about Debtors?
Yep, so we are also the stars stars of Debtors. It's a conceptual band. We tried all different mediums to get our story and concept out, and we thought that a reality comic is the best way to go, because you know we come from comic books like as from childhood, so yeah, it's getting back
like
to our roots.
One step beyond the gorillas. We're actually real.
Yeah.
Excellent. Which is, I guess, so that's why you went with a reality comic idea, something that was, you know, the real images rather than going with artwork. Although you do have some nice pin-up images at the start. Steve Pugh, and you've got some great stuff there.
Steve Pugh and Shaky Kane in there.
Yeah.
They're really inspired us, and you know we're inspired by those artists and creators in particular, and hopefully we have inspired them.
Oh, I'm sure. Now, with the comic, you've got the preview coming out for Free Comic Book Day. So where is it going from here? Obviously, you're going to be continuing with the comic.
Yeah, so this is just the preview at the moment. We're hopefully getting, we're working on the full version. It's coming out real soon. It'll be available on our website, so deaders.com. And yeah, hopefully in King's Comics right here.
Fantastic. Okay, great. Well, look, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been great.
Thank you.
So Free Comic Book Day isn't just about the comics, there's also heaps of amazing cosplay that comes through, and I have managed to snag one of my favourite cosplayers here. Jill, fantastic costume. Tell us a bit about who you are today.
Today I'm Bombshell Batgirl from the new DC Figures Bombshell range. It's a 30s and 40s take on the superheroes, and I think it's just super cool.
There's some really cool characters, because there's a Poison Ivy, there's a Wonder Woman, but Batgirl I think is my favourite as well. How long did it take to put this together? Because it's pretty detailed.
I'd say a couple of weeks full on. I was working pretty hard on the weekends to get it done.
That's awesome. So obviously it is Free Comic Book Day. Are there any particular titles that you're thinking of picking up for yourself?
I'm definitely after the Batman Beyond New 52 issue.
Yep.
I mean, there's so many to choose from.
You've just got to hope that they're all still in stock.
Exactly.
So Free Comic Book Day is a great day for new readers to get involved in this wonderful genre. So what would be a title that you would recommend?
I really think people should look at Black Widow. I think it's fantastic. The art is beautiful. Phil Noto is doing a beautiful job. And it's a really well-written story. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for having a chat with us again. You look amazing. Bombshell indeed. Enjoy Free Comic Book Day.
Thanks, Sonya. Bye, guys.
We've run into our old friend Ray Johnston. Great to see you, Ray.
Good to see you too. Funny seeing you here today.
Isn't
What a
it?
surprise.
Oh, running into you like this. We've got to stop meeting like this. Now, Free Comic Book Day, it's really huge this year. Everybody's here. It's very hectic. Feels like you need a strategy going in. You've got to have a game plan. What's your game plan for Free Comic Book Day?
I kind of treat Free Comic Book Day like a mini nomadic convention. So I'll meet up with friends and we'll plan cosplays and grab comic books and then head to the next store and get our fill there. And today in particular is super special because we've got the Free Comic Book Day after party. It's the first time that's ever happened. So we'll be going there, and there's a cosplay parade and rides and all sorts of things. So yeah, that's my plan.
Awesome. So you've thought it out. That's great.
Yep.
Now, one of the things we're asking everybody today is, with Free Comic Book Day, it's a great time to introduce people to new stuff. What's a title that you would like to introduce people to?
At the moment, I would probably recommend people pick up the new Hawkeye series. It's fantastic. Highly recommended at the moment.
Yeah, great artwork on that one. It's a very different direction.
It is very different. I don't want to spoil things.
No.
Just read it.
Better check it out.
Just do it.
Excellent. Thanks for having a chat with us.
No worries.
So are you still watching Game of Thrones, Ray?
I am. Are you?
I certainly am, but Al has gone on strike.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, well, you know what? If they're just going to punish me relentlessly for liking anyone, then they could just, honestly, just...
Angry man.
However, if you are still watching Game of Thrones, we are taking a look at some of the collectibles available.
That's right. We've got a figure and a bust. Let's start with the figure. Standing at 7.5 inches tall, this non-articulated figure, and others in the same series, is based on the likeness of the respective actors and the characters they portray within the TV show. It comes in a window box packaging for bookshelf display and is produced by Dark Horse. Does it look like Tyrion Lannister, though?
Oh, it does and it doesn't. I mean, the face is less angular than the real thing, but the expression is good, a mixture of contempt and longing.
Yeah, well, the paintwork I thought was pretty good, and the sculpt itself is quite fine. The discoloration of the map, the pattern across the top of the tunic, and the leather strapping on the boots are all nice little touches.
This figure is a good size for your bookshelf or TV cabinet, but ultimately, for me, this doesn't embody who Tyrion Lannister is.
No.
I think he's a bit more dynamic than this, so I'm actually going to give him a berry.
Yeah, look, I'm going to bury him as well. I thought it doesn't embody, Tyrion Lannister. I think he's a bit more adventurous than that. The stance itself is a little sedentary. That said, this particular figure is better than others that are available in the same collection, like the Khal Drogo and the Arya Stark. They're not very good figures. But on the flip side to that, you have the Jon Snow and the Robb Stark, and they are quite decent figures in that line.
Yeah, now if you prefer your action figures, keep an eye out for the Legacy collection that will be available soon.
Excellent, yes, good tip. Next, we've got the White Walker bust. Dark Horse outsourced Gentle Giant for this sculpt. It stands 9 inches tall, it's made of polystone, hand-painted, limited to 1,600 worldwide, and each piece comes with a certificate of authenticity.
Gentle Giant really does excel at their busts, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
An excellent likeness to the character here, in a simple, commanding position as he directs the minions onward to Westeros.
Yes, very stoic, slightly scary with those icy blue eyes. I love the detail in the spear, the arm guards and the base, but most of all the icy ligaments that stretch across his body. The colours and the paintwork too is solid. No matter what's happening in Game of Thrones, this figure depicts the imminent threat to everyone. Winter is coming. It's a buy from me.
Yeah, it's a buy from me as well. I hope that they make more busts of the characters.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Hey, I forgotten what we're reviewing next.
There isn't anything next. And you keep pushing that same lame joke. If you were on Game of Thrones, you, my friend, would be sacrificed already.
You kind of remind me of Melisandre. I just got to say that.
I certainly do. It's no secret that I'm a DC fangirl. I mean, a good portion of my monthly budget goes to comics with the words justice or bat in the title. However, as we're looking at comics that we'd like to introduce people to, I thought I'd head on over to my other comic love.
Super violent crime noir.
No, not that one.
Okay, high-tech spy thrillers featuring either clones, aliens, or time travel.
Nah, the other one.
Oh, okay, abstract, high-concept storytelling with experimental art styles that you need to read twice before you understand.
That's the one. And that's why I've picked The Boy Who Made Silence, written and arted by Joshua Hagler.
Oh, we're bringing back arted as a word? Excellent!
I knew you'd like that. The Boy Who Made Silence revolves around a young boy called Nestor, who has gone deaf after almost drowning in a river. From the beginning of the story, you're confronted by an intricate and emotive art style that sets the tone for an equally complex narrative.
It almost gets stream of consciousness sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I've got to say, I found Nestor's initial reaction to his deafness quite affecting. How he describes it as if the world has stopped noticing him. And from a visual perspective, the empty word balloons when people speak to him are a simple but brilliant way of getting the concept across.
But the story moves on quickly from being an introspective look at one boy's experience of disability once we find out that he has gained the ability to make silence. After crying out in a moment of stress, Nestor creates an intense silence that causes all the people around him to simultaneously gain a deep and personal understanding of each other.
It's also at this point that the story starts getting a bit confusing. We see the people's shared insights, jumping randomly through the memories of the townsfolk in this American country town that have somehow all been mashed together. But it's halfway through this volume before it's actually explained what's happening, and for me, it could have been a little bit clearer.
Oh, no, I disagree. I mean, the experience itself is quite abstract and confusing for those in the story, so to me it makes sense that it's also abstract and confusing to the reader.
Okay, yeah, I can see what you're saying there, but I think there's a danger that some people might drift out of this story about a third of the way through because they have no clue what's going on. That said, the art remains hellishly impressive the whole way through.
It certainly does. I think some of the most impressive visual work comes from those memory sections, where it gains a surreal edge. The viewpoint of each scene is communicated through the internal monologue and also through the warped forms of everyone but the protagonist.
And the effect that the shared memories have on the townsfolk is unexpected, especially considering the unpleasant nature of those memories. They begin feeling a true sense of empathy for each other.
there's a real sense of ambiguity to this story, I think. There's the darkness of these personal moments balanced against the closeness that they create. There's the feeling of empathy balanced against the desperate urge to want to have that feeling again.
Yeah, which inevitably leads to Nesta being used as a commodity. I know what you mean about the ambivalent tone. Even in moments where people are talking about being happy, the art style provides a beautiful counterpoint. It's a balancing act that Hagler performs to perfection.
Yeah, look, I mean, this isn't a book for everyone, but if you like artists like Dave McKean and if you like your stories on the abstract side, this is definitely one to look out for.
It's also quite reminiscent of David Mack's work, who incidentally provides the foreword to this volume. Hagler's progression as an artist and storyteller throughout this volume is really fascinating. I love seeing a creative working on both the writing and the art because there's no disconnect in how the story is being told. It's all one message told in one voice that is both verbal and visual. Like you said, Al, this may not be a book for everyone, but I do urge everyone to take the time to explore such a beautiful story. Well, that's your lot for today, guys. Another episode of Kapow in the bag.
Yeah, I hope you got a lot of great loot from Free Comic Book Day. If you got anything particularly awesome, let us know through Facebook or Twitter, and we'll be back next episode with
Yeah, what are we going to do? I mean, there's a lot of awesome stuff coming out. There's Godzilla, there's X-Men, there's some great titles coming out. I mean, what else?
Well, I've got a birthday coming up.
Yeah, not till September.
Yeah, well, we can start the celebration early.
Yeah, we'll think of something, guys. We'll see you then.
Just my hand.
Bye.
I need a noisemaker.